Alright guys, in this video we're going to be talking about how to come up with an idea. This is an extremely important step for us because we're going to be working on two shots during this time, or not two shots right now, but during this whole class we'll be doing two shots. The first 4 weeks we are working on our first shot, so coming up with an idea that is interesting to you, that you're excited about, that will create something awesome in the end is very important. And it's a very important step that often excuse me, people overlook. I think too often or not, and even again, I've fallen into this category before. I've just opened up my grab a rig and I just start animating. And I didn't really think about very long about my idea. And spending some time brainstorming, coming up with something that gets you excited is just going to make your animation that much better. If you are excited about it, if it interests you, if it's going to push you, it's just going to create a better result. So these are some tips and tricks that I have for coming up with a cool idea or a unique idea or just an idea in general. So one, and obviously, well, maybe one of the most obvious one is what interests you. We all love animation, but what are your interests outside of that? Do you like soccer? Do you like football? Do you love gymnastics? Do you like doing skateboarding? And it could even be things that you don't physically do that interest you. I put this little image over here because I happen to be a huge Star Wars fan. I'm a huge Star Wars nerd, yet I have never actually done any Star Wars animation. That is something that interests me that maybe I would do a body mechanics shot that was somehow Star Wars related or lightsaber related or something. That could be something that personally interests me. So it may not necessarily be something that you do, but just an idea or something interests me. Things like gymnastics and actually ballet and stuff like that have actually always interested me. I don't really like going to ballet. I don't go out of my way to watch gymnastics, but like when the Olympics are on, I love watching them. That was one of the reasons I actually did the ballet animation that I'll be showing examples of often and talking about that I did. I love watching football, so you could maybe do something with that. So it may not, just thinking about stuff that interests you is always a great idea because you're going to be excited about animating it. And that's a very important aspect is you want to be excited about what you're doing, especially if this is a personal shot. If you work in a studio, you're going to get assigned a shot and you may not always have a say. So it may not excite you what you're working on, but this is a personal thing right now we're doing. You have freedom to choose whatever you want, as long as it meets some constraints, which we'll talk about later. But use that opportunity to really do something that excites you because you want to have a lot of energy going into your shot. You don't want to be dreading it. You don't want to be you don't want to fear working on it. You don't like, oh gosh, I have to animate this again. Blah, blah, blah. So think of something that can interest you or can help push you. So next up, find your rig. This sometimes a little backwards, but it can help come up with ideas. This is a great example. This is a modified Norman rig that's in a ninja kind of outfit. It's got a sword and everything. So right there, you could maybe say like, I kind of want to do something with that rig. And that rig could maybe inspire you to come up with an idea. So obviously he looks a lot like a ninja. You could say like, oh yeah, I want to do something ninja. I want him stealthily sneaking or climbing a tree or he's scaling a castle wall. You can start thinking about ninja-esque things for him to do. That instantly helps you find out an idea because you have a basic idea of your character. Now, this is an example of one where he kind of has an outfit already, but I'll often be referencing and using the body mechanic rigs that Joe Daniels made, and you can get them at his website. I'll be plugging them a lot because they're great rigs. And it's pretty cheap too. I think it's only like $30, $30, $40 for all these rigs. But sometimes the shape and the size of the character can help guide you to what you should do. This guy is Herc here is very heroic looking. He looks like a hero. I could see him doing heroic things, Superman type stuff, Batman stuff, rolls, flips, jumps, climbs, those type of things. This guy is a little more heavy. Maybe he's not doing these type of things. Or maybe you do the opposite. Maybe Herc here is actually not very fast and not very coordinated, and he is actually stumbling around pretending to be a hero. That's sort of a visual twist. You think you know what you're going to get by looking at him, but the animation you tackle is a little different. Or vice versa. Maybe you do a ballet shot with Marv here. He looks like an overweight guy who's probably, maybe can't handle himself in terms of movement, but you flip it over. You make him very graceful and actually very light on his feet. So you can actually play with some stuff like that. And sometimes so it's not just how your character looks by what they're wearing, but how they're physically proportioned and how they actually look can help you come up with ideas. So find an environment. And this is one I will do from time to time as well. There's a lot of great sites out there where you can get free Maya models. I'll post them in the general forum, some of those links. But this is just two right now, just like 2 minutes before I started this video. I went to a site and I found two right here that you could come up with ideas for. One's this windmill, and without even thinking about who the character is, but I can imagine this windmill slowly spinning and a character like climbing up this as it's spinning, and then maybe hopping on to this little catwalk here. And that's all the shot is. But by having the environment, it adds so much more interest, and you can help you come up with an idea. And that's just one idea from this windmill. You could probably come up with 100 ideas just with this little windmill model of what a character could be doing in this little environment. Or an escalator. There's tons of stuff you could think of with body mechanics stuff. Maybe a character's trying to go up the escalator the wrong way. Maybe he falls and is stumbling down it. Maybe he is trying to evade someone and is sliding down the bars. Again, so many different ideas with a simple set piece. So sometimes it can be helpful to kind of work backwards, come up with your environment first, then come up with your idea. Again, another little trick. I do this one a lot because it can actually help you. Sometimes, again, it's sort of a painting thing or a drawing thing. If you just have a blank piece of paper, it's very terrifying. There's nothing on there. So doing things to help you get something on that paper will help you come up with ideas. The same thing with the idea with the rig. You have a blank canvas, but if you can think about, oh, I have this character though, what could he be doing? Or I have this environment, what could someone be doing in that environment? And again, these are just two. I can send a site, there's hundreds of different little models. It can be very helpful to come up with an idea when you just start looking at it. And try to go back to, your youth, when you were 6 or 7 years old and you just made stuff up and your imagination was endless. Try to tap into that self where you had, oh yeah, all we have is this little piece. We have a windmill. What are our characters doing on it? And just kind of like let yourself make up a story of what, are they climbing it? Are they trying to get out of the windmill? What's going on there? So free your mind, so to speak. Think of a profession. This one is, it's actually kind of obvious, but it can help you come up with ideas. Just before you even start, think of a profession that your character is. Is your character, again, a ballerina? Is your character a soldier? Is your character a gymnast? Is your character a parkour master? Is your character a superhero? By assigning a profession to your character, it'll instantly help you come up with ideas. And these are very obvious answers, or I guess obvious examples. Like if my character is a ballerina, I probably want her to be doing ballet. Sometimes you can switch that. Maybe she's a ballerina trying to do something else that you can create some interest there, but you don't have to do that. But sometimes just to help coming up with ideas, think of who your character is, what do they do, and then start coming up with ideas. So we have some examples here. Again, our ballerina, or our gymnast, sorry, could be doing the balance beam, could be doing the uneven bars, could be doing a floor routine, could be doing, any number of things. But by narrowing down my idea to a profession, I've then opened the door to smaller things that I could think about tackling. And then it sort of starts coming down to what interests me, what's going to challenge me, what am I excited about. Balance bar could actually be kind of cool. Once you come up with your profession, then just continue to break it down. And then you can continue to break it down from here. Okay, I have a gymnast on a balance beam, and then maybe start thinking of a situation. They are the best at it. Or it's her first time. Or she broke her ankle a year before and now it's her first time getting back on there. She's scared. Or she is cocky and maybe a little too confident. Or she is, whatever it could be. You can start assigning emotions or situations to your character on what they're doing. And you could do that in any of these. Even the previous ones where we were talking about the windmill, the escalator. You could have a character running up the escalator because they're late to a meeting. Running up the escalator because they're evading the police. Running up the escalator, as you can see, you could just keep kind of snowballing ideas. And by continuing to break your idea down, it'll help you come up with what's right, what you should do. And it'll help you come up with maybe what their motion should be, what they should physically be doing. So we have another example, soldier. So what could the soldier be doing? Maybe he's climbing into a tank. Maybe he's climbing out of a tank. Maybe he's in basic and he's doing obstacles. Again, just breaking down the character into things that they could be doing. Superman, he's flipping a car. He's saving a girl. He's fighting someone. He's flying. He's landing. He's jumping, any number of ideas you can come up with. Maybe it's Superman running up the escalator because he has to change out of his business clothes or his Clark Kent clothes. You can start combining ideas. So sometimes it helps just to, even what I've done here, grab little images, make a little presentation or a little post-it notes with your ideas on them, and then see how you can shuffle them around. Maybe some ideas are environments, some ideas are characters, some ideas are situations, and see how you can mix and match them and come up with fun things. It's a soldier going up an escalator because there's, he's racing to blah, 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 or it's a ballerina doing blah, blah, blah. Some of them are not going to work. I don't know if you want a ballerina getting into a tank, but, instead of Superman flipping a car, oops, where is it? Instead of Superman flipping a car, maybe he's flipping a tank. So you can kind of see how you can mix and match these ideas. And these are just a couple I've come up with. Excuse me. So next up, do what you're afraid of. And this is not necessarily, I'm afraid of spiders, so I want to animate a spider. No, it's more of something that I've never done before. When I did the ballet shot, and I'll show it again I'll show it here soon, a ballet animation I did. I've never done a ballet animation. I haven't done much female animation. I knew those would challenge me and instantly force me to push myself because they're not in my wheelhouse. They're not things that I do all the time. If you are very competent and good at animating characters lifting heavy objects, don't do a character lifting a heavy object. Push yourself. So if you haven't done it, try it. And actually, don't try it, do it. Because again, Yoda's one of my favorite characters, so try not, do, or do not. So there is no try. So yeah, do not necessarily what's afraid of you, do what's going to challenge you, what's going to push you. Now, don't go so far where you're not going to have any fun or it's not interesting to you. There could be something that you're, not ready for, and I don't want to tackle that, and that's okay because I'm not ready for it. But maybe it's something that I'm kind of interested in this, but I don't know, I've never done it. Try it out, see how it goes. There's nothing wrong with trying something and then having to switch your idea or change up, Don't be afraid to start over. It's an important step sometimes. Give your character a goal. I was talking about this a little bit before with the ideas, kind of with the post-its, putting them around. But just give your character something to do. Maybe it's a character changing a tire, so he has to lift the tire or roll it in or lift the vehicle. Maybe it's a character trying to get a cookie. The cookie's too far away. I'm really hungry. Maybe it's a kid trying to get a cookie, so he's stacking objects to try to climb them. Maybe a character's trying to catch a bus because he's late, because whatever reason, Think of a situation and then put your character in it and how do they react, those type of things. Combine them. So this is what I was sort of mentioning before already with the kind of post-it note idea of where you got characters, you got professions, you got environments, you got situations. How can I move these around to create fun stuff, interesting things? Look at what's been done before. Now, this is not only for inspiration, but maybe things to avoid. If someone has done a shot of a character changing the tire, or maybe a lot of people have done that shot, maybe you don't want to do it. Maybe you want to do something new, do something fresh. But look at it. Look at awesome work to inspire you. And I have some examples that we can look at here of just some cool animation because I love doing this all the time. I really recommend getting Vimeo. If you don't have a Vimeo account, get one. You can sign up. It's free, but what it allows you to do is you can like videos, and then you instantly have an archive of all your likes. You can follow people similar like Facebook and stuff like that, but you only see videos that they post. So this is a cool little body mechanic shot that someone did of just a character swinging around kind of on these vines with this pole. Again, it's pretty simple in terms of, like, I guess you could say story or situation. All it is a character needs to get from point A to point B. And often that's all you need. And then you think of, or you come up with an interesting environment, and how do they get there? How do they get there in an interesting way? It doesn't always have to be a complex story or a character trying to get a cookie or changing a tire. Often the most fun ones can just be, how do I get from point A to point B in an interesting way? And some of those are my most favorite, actually, because there's any number of ways the character starts right here on this little branch, and he's going to go to that branch. There are hundreds of ways that you could give this same shot, start here, go here, to 10 different animators. They'd all do it a different way, in a unique way. So this is another one. Maybe you find a simple little environment and you put your character in one area of it and you tell yourself, I need him to get to this area over there. How does he do it? How's he going to get there? And a lot of things come into play. Is he going to get there in a cool way? Is he going to stumble his way there? Is he going to flip his way there? You know, obviously this guy's doing a lot of flips and stuff. It's really cool. It's something to think about. This is a real awesome one from Big Hero 6. They took that same idea of give a bunch of different animators, but it's actually more of the same character. So these are all the various characters from Big Hero 6, and it's just them sitting in a chair. That is the body mechanics shot. Have your character sit in a chair. It can be that simple. You know, I don't want people to go too far. And in fact, that was a slide I didn't include. I'm going to mention it right now before you watch it. Keep it simple. Don't bite off more than you can chew. There's nothing wrong with a shot of a character sitting in a chair, because we're getting ready to watch some amazing animation of characters sitting in a chair. So don't bite off more than you can chew. There's nothing wrong with keeping it simple. You know, it's better to have a simple, maybe short animation that's amazing than you bite off more than you can chew. You can't finish it. It's over. You know, it's not totally done. Don't want that. We want to make sure we finish. So there's nothing wrong with simple ideas. And sometimes simple ideas will actually challenge you more to think of a complex or interesting body mechanic shot of a character sitting in a chair or getting out of a chair. How can I make that unique and interesting and new? So we'll just go ahead and watch these so you can see how the different characters all sit in different ways according to kind of their personality. So Baymax is obviously very robotic, you know, controlled with his movements. Nothing's wasted, those type of things. It's pretty cool. And then you get a little gag here at the end. So we got Hero, very casual, grabs the chair, flips it around. He sits in a very different way. That's a great body mechanic shot though. Like that could be your shot. Like I just need a character, enter the room and sit in a chair. And then film reference, come up with ideas. How does my character do this? There's 100, there's thousands of ways a character could enter and sit into a chair. So sometimes constraining yourself to a simple idea like that can help push yourself. So not as cocky or confident entrance, a little bit more realistic, a little more subtle, but still awesome. You know, we instantly learn tons about her as she enters. She's busy, she's holding something, she has to open and close the door with her feet. You know, but she does it very well, so we know she's used to being busy and having a lot on her plate. So she enters very fast and cocky, but then kind of sits down more slowly, you know. It's more of a badass entrance, you could say. It's just such a great video of how each of these characters enter and sit down. Yep, much more fun, sort of a girly girl type entrance. And then you have more of a character not paying attention as they're entering. Maybe they're reading something. You know, there's so many different ways you could do this, and so many more ways. These are just some of them. But it's just a great shot, or a great series of shots. But, you know, it's something to think about. Maybe you give yourself a simple task like that. I have my character, he needs to get out of bed, or he needs to sit into a chair, or he needs to do something that we do all the time. And how can you make that unique and interesting? This is a great one. This is obviously a very long one. This is 42 seconds, and our animations will be much shorter. But it's a great idea of taking something that probably was very interest someone, Indiana Jones, and then creating a fun little test of that. Then they have an environment. I don't know exactly how the process all this came to be that the anime created this, if it started with Indiana Jones or did they have this environment. But it's just a great little test. And again, this is another one without spoiling it, it doesn't really spoil it. Character starts here, he needs to get to the top. So it's a point A to B animation. So it's actually a very simple concept. And how do they get from point A to point B with these obstacles around? Tons of great weight. And then you get a little gag at the end, which is pretty cool. Again, this one's very long, but in the end, it is just a point A to point B animation. he has your obstacles in here, and he could have done tons of different things. Maybe he hopped up on this bar and went this way and tried to climb up this slope. Or maybe he pushes a box closer to climb up the slope. There's tons of different ways he could have gone this way. But sometimes, maybe come up with a simple obstacle course. People may have done the little animations where you have a ball going through an obstacle course. Think of the same idea, but with a human. Create some boxes, create some shapes. How is your human going to get through that environment? And then he still gets moments of Indiana Jones here. Like this moment right here of him adjusting his hat and kind of looking and, fixing himself, kind of. This is a nice little moment. But then he can still push the character. Obviously, Indiana Jones doesn't do anything this physical in any of the movies. So you allow yourself to push things and make them interesting. It's just a great little shot. And then this one I did that I'll be referencing a lot. We'll be looking at the Maya file and stuff. But it's just a 7-second long ballet animation. And I came up with this idea because I wanted to do something with ballet. I wanted to do something graceful. I hadn't animated a lot of girls. And ballet was very interesting just because of how graceful it is. It's almost like the characters are flying. So I just came up, I did this little shot right here. Nothing overly complex. It's pretty straightforward. It is, again, a character getting from A to B. I found a reference that I actually followed pretty closely. I exaggerated a little bit. Now we'll be able to look at the reference as well, and that's going to be one of our another ways to come up with ideas, actually finding reference. So we'll come back to this again. But again, I wanted to show an example of one of mine that, it doesn't have to always, I wanted to show an example in mine so you can kind of see my thought process as well. So that one, again, I wanted to do a girl, I wanted to do ballet, and that's sort of where it stemmed from. And then I started researching ballet and looking for videos and found one that I actually liked. So come up with constraints. So this one's actually important. You don't want to just jump into the animation world and just, I'm going to animate forever, blah, blah, blah. Give yourself some rules. And we actually do have some rules, and I'm going to give you, keep it to one character. It should be a human biped, but that actually frees you to a lot of ideas. Is it a young kid, an old man, a woman, a teenager? But it needs to be human, needs to be a biped. And then time length. That Indiana Jones one was very long, but actually we maybe shorten this a little bit. It's probably around 7 to 12 seconds. Don't bite off more than you can chew. You don't need a really long shot. That ballet one I showed was only like 6.5 or 7 seconds. So you can create quality stuff that doesn't need to be 40 seconds long. So come up with some constraints. These are the constraints we're using. Maybe you want to personally come up with some more, and there's nothing wrong with that. Maybe you want to limit yourself. Okay, my character I want to do a male. That's my constraint. It needs to be a male character, it needs to be this long, and it needs to be, whatever other constraints you have. Sometimes it can help come up with ideas if you kind of, instead of coming up with ideas, you sort of scratch out things that you can't do, type of thing. Like, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this. What does that leave me with? So somewhere around 8 to 12 seconds. Basically, it can be shorter than this. The basic rule is don't go longer than 12 seconds. We don't want to be going too long. And the next thing is Google. Google ideas. Google things that interest you. Watch videos. Our next video will be about gathering reference and stuff. And sometimes you may find a reference that just works perfect for you. And that was the case with the ballet shot that I did. I found a reference that is pretty darn close to what you see there. Now, I'm not going to copy the reference. I'll show you my workflow. I'm not going to copy it, but I love the motion that this woman had. I love the moves that she was doing. It didn't end how I wanted it, so I needed to come up with my own ending. But there's nothing wrong. Instead of like saying I have to come up with the entire idea by myself, maybe you find some reference of a gymnast doing something or a soldier doing something that you find very cool, and I want to use that as reference, and that's my idea type of thing. Or maybe it's a combination of reference. I'm sort of jumping into the next video, which will be gathering and analyzing reference, but I just want to mention a little bit that there is nothing wrong with finding a video reference to saying you want to use that, and or filming yourself. Maybe it is physically something you can do. Maybe you're a great skateboarder. Maybe you are a great, whatever it may be. Or maybe it's something not complex at all like that. Maybe it is something like the character getting in a chair. You could easily film reference for that. How do I get into a chair in a cool way? Film yourself doing it and then analyze that. So there's nothing wrong with that as well. It doesn't these don't have to be crazy backflip somersault animations. they could be more of how does a character sit in the chair in an interesting, cool way. Maybe he does backflip into it though, because backflips are cool. So that's the end of this talk with coming up with an idea. It's sort of a lot of information, but I'll be here to help you guys as well. Post in the forums, create your forum post in the assignment folder. You can post ideas there. I can help brainstorm with you. Maybe you're having trouble coming with an idea and you just want something assigned to you. I can help with that as well. I can give you a shot if you want, if that's easier. In the general forums, there'll be a post which is called ideas. I'll be just throwing lots of random ideas in there. If other people want to do that too, just so we have kind of a post with a lot of different crazy ideas that can help inspire people, and or post animations of cool stuff that you've seen. Whatever can help inspire people, but it is an important step to help come up with the idea. You don't want to just start animating out of the blue. You kind of want to know where you're going. Have the blueprints before you build the building. So yeah, up next we'll be talking about gathering reference and analyzing it a bit. And I'll talk about filming reference as well, because some people may have ideas that involve filming reference.